Hello and welcome to part 1 of making this oversized hoodie sweater. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the shoulders, the neckline, and the sides. The pattern that we're using is a fan stitch pattern, which is very simple. It's a 2-row repeat, and I think you will really enjoy this. Depending on the type of yarn you use, cotton or acrylic will be perfect for any weather throughout the year. So come join me and let's make this. Remember, this is part 1. Part 2 will have the sleeves, the neckline, and the hoodie. So let's get started. The materials and the tools we will be using to make our fan pattern hoodie. Here I have a 5.50 millimeter crochet hook, a large eye tapestry needle, pair of scissors, and the yarn we're going to be using is a 4-weight worsted yarn. This particular skein has 601 yards. We will be using 3 of them, and the colorway for this is called Peach Seafoam Ombre. I love the colors because of the purple, the yellow, and the peach that's in it. When we get to the body of our hoodie, you can either use a plastic stitch marker or you can use a length of yarn. Before we begin, I like to pull the yarn from the center of my skein. So I'm going to be pulling out enough that I think I will be able to use when making our chain. Begin with a short tail, maybe 4 to 6 inches. Place a slip knot on our hook. And let's start with a chain of 84. Please continue on until you have 84 chains. After you have your chain of 84, let's follow it down to the end and make sure that there is no twists in the chain. Then we're going to bring it together and place a slip stitch into that first chain. Okay, and then chain 1, and into that same chain that we did our slip stitch, let's place a half double crochet. Now at this time you can also crochet over your tail. That way you don't have to weave it in later. And then we're going to half double crochet 1 per chain all the way around. Now when making this, I pick up 2 parts of the chain. You see how we have 3, so I'm going to pick up the 2. Continue with that all the way around, and when we get to the end, we will slip stitch into our first half double crochet. I'll meet you there. After you have placed in your 84 half double crochets, I encourage you to double check your count to make sure that you have 84. After that, we're going to slip stitch into our first half double crochet and chain 1. In the same stitch, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet in that same stitch. Then we're going to do 21 single crochets in the next 21 stitches. Continue till you get to 21 and then please pause your video. So we've completed the 21 single crochets. Let's chain 2 and single crochet into that same space. Then let's start our count again. 21 single crochets. So here's 1, 2, 3. Continue till you have 21. So we're going to do as we just did, chain 2 and single crochet into the same stitch. Then 21 single crochets, chain 2 and single crochet in the same stitch. When you get that far, we're going to do single crochets here, and then I'll tell you how many when we get that far. So we're going to do 20 single crochets. Reason being, we already have the one that was the beginning of our row that would make it number 21. So continue with 20 single crochets across, and I'll meet you so we can start our first row of the pattern. So now we're going to skip this chain right here, and we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet and then slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Chain 3. This will count as our first double crochet. Double crochet in the same space, chain 2 and 2 double crochets. This will be considered our corner. Now if we slide our work over, we can see this is our first single crochet. We're going to skip that, but first we're going to chain 2 and then into the second we're going to do a double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet in the same space. Chain 2, skip 2, and in the next one, single crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, into the third one, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, also known as V-stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, into the third one, let's do our V stitch. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Chain 2. Now we're coming up close to our chain 2 with our single crochets. So we're going to skip 2 here, single crochet into the third one. Chain 2, skip 2, into the third one, our V stitch. Okay, so here's what along our 21 or 22 single crochets between the chain 2 spacing, this is what we have. Okay, so let's chain 2, and into the chain 2 space between the 2 single crochets, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. And then chain 2. Now remember what we started back here? We skipped the 1, and then we put our V stitch in. Well, we're going to be doing that same thing. So skip this first one, into the second one, our V stitch, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, V stitch, this first row is really critical, because if you do mess up, it will slow your pattern down. So this is the reason why I'm walking you through it. I'm going to go up to this chain 2 space, and I'm going to let you do the other 2 by yourself so that I don't bore you really bad. Okay, so here we're going to chain 2, skip 2, and into that third one, single crochet. I chose the variegated because I liked the short pattern of it, and I believe it's going to really show the fan stitch very nicely. If you choose to make yours from solid, I know it'll look really nice too. So here we did our single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, so now it's time for our V stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, and our V stitch. Then we'll chain 2 and into the corner. Okay, so 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and then chain 2. Okay, so here's our second. We have 2 more left, so remember to skip that first one and into the second one, our V stitch. Continue to do that for this section up to our corner and the next section, and I'll meet you at the beginning of the row. Now remember, this is the first row of our pattern. Before we finish this row, I wanted to show you that yes, it will look like a square. After we do our last V-stitch, chain 2, slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, slip stitch into the double crochet, and then slip stitch into the chain 2. I'm going to go ahead and stop for just a second so I can bring my camera up closer. So let's begin row 2 of our pattern. Chain 3. Remember, we're starting off as a corner. The corner is always 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. The chain 3 still counts as 1 double crochet. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and 1 more double crochet. Okay, so after every corner, chain 2, we're going to skip these 2 double crochets here onto the chain 2 here, single crochet. Then we'll notice that we have our V-stitch. Remember, you can always tell your V-stitch because the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, so on the chain 2, between the 2 double crochets, 7 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you find it gets a little tight, you can hold it, your double crochet here, slide your other stitches over, and you'll have a little bit of room. Here's 6 and 7. We're going to skip these 2 chains and the single crochet of the previous row. We're going to single crochet in the same stitch. Skip the chain 2, and here's our V-stitch again. 7 double crochets onto the chain 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, skip the chain 2, single crochet in the single crochet of the previous row, skip the chain 2 again, and here we are at our V-stitch, 7 double crochet. You'll notice that in our square we will have 4 on this row of a group of the 7 double crochets. Okay, and I've done 3 already, so I have 1 more left. Skip the chain 2, single crochet in the single crochet of the previous row. Okay, here's our last V-stitch, 7 double crochet. Here's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now I did want to point out, if I was going a little fast, please do not hesitate to pause the video so that you can do what you need to do. A lot of times it seems like I go fast because of video time purposes. Plus I don't want to bore the more experienced ones, but we're going to show you how to do these rows to make sure that you're accurate with your crochet as what the pattern is calling for. So after we did our last, we have our corner here. Now if we remember, at the beginning we did a chain 2 and a single crochet. So here we're going to do a single crochet that finishes what we just did here, chain 2, and then we're going to do our corner, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Okay, so let me show you what we've just done. All right, let's move on to the next side of the same row. Okay, so this will start side 2. So after we did our corner, chain 2, single crochet onto that chain 2, and make sure you don't do it into the V-stitch. You'll end up putting your scallops in the, the fan part in the wrong spot. Okay, so here's our V-stitch, and the only reason why I say that is because, yes, I have done that when I was creating this particular sweater. Okay, so here's our V-stitch, 7 double crochet, single crochet over the previous single crochet, and then 7 double crochet, and then the single, the 7, the single, the 7, and then the single, chain 2, and then we'll start our corner again. Now if you have that down, go ahead and continue on, remembering to chain 2 and single crochet at the beginning, and at the end, just before your corner, single crochet, chain 2, and then do our corner. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I'll meet you here so we can go ahead and finish this row and then start on row 3. Please pause your video. So, isn't this pretty how it's starting to show its pattern already? Alright, so we're going to move on to row 3, which will be an increase row. So, let's get started on that. But first we're going to finish row 2. We finished our single crochet, chain 2. We're going to slip stitch at the top of chain 3, slip stitch along that double crochet, and then slip stitch to the chain 2. Okay, so here we are in our corner. Whoops, I need to turn my light on, don't I? Makes a difference. So let's start row 3. This is our increase row, and you're going to find through our pattern we're going to be repeating row 3 and row 4. So we chain 3, double crochet, we're in our corner, chain 2, 2 double crochet, chain 2. Okay, so this is how our increases will work. It will always be with our V-stitch, and the next row will have just basically the fill to fill the fan in. So just remember that if you have a single crochet here, that means that we're ready to do an increase row. So we're going to skip the 2 double crochets here, and onto this chain 2 we're going to do our V-stitch, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we did 7 double crochets, so you want to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, into the 4th one, single crochet, chain 2. We're going to skip these 3 left into the single crochet right here, V-stitch, so it'll be in that single crochet, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, okay, and then chain 2. So you can see how it's going to work over the fan of the previous row. And so we'll have a fan here and a fan over here, so it'll be an opposite one. So after our chain 2, skip 3 double crochets into that 4th one, single crochet, chain 2, into the single crochet, the V-stitch, chain 2, skip 3 double crochet, single crochet, chain 2. Okay, so we're coming up on our corner, but we're not there yet. So we chain 2, here's our single crochet. Let's place our V-stitch, chain 2, skip 3, single crochet, chain 2. Now onto this chain 2 space, let's do our V-stitch. Chain 2, and here we are back at our corner. 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Okay, you can see how it's starting to fill in nicely. So here's our V-stitch. So each row will be alternating. Okay, so that means we did 4 for this row on filling our V-stitch. So this row will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to continue around. Let's get started first. Chain 2, V-stitch onto the chain 2, chain 2, skip 3 double crochets into the 4th one, single crochet. Okay, keep going all the way around. Remember, when you finish this last single crochet, chain 2, V-stitch onto the chain 2 before the corner. Okay, so go ahead and do the other 1, 2, 3 sides right here, and slip stitch at the top of the chain 3, the double crochet, and into the chain 2 space, and I'll meet you there. So now that we've completed our increase row of row 3, we're going to start row 4. Row 4 is a repeat of row 2. So you're going to find that in the process of doing the increase for our shoulders to create the sleeve and the body, we're going to be repeating rows 3 and then row 2. So here I am at the corner. Let's chain 3, double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the same space. Okay, chain 2. We're going to skip our 2 double crochet, single crochet onto the chain 2. Okay, here's our V-stitch, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into that same space. That's how you can identify your V-stitch. We're going to place 7 double crochets onto the chain 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, no chaining on this row, and then we have our single crochet from our previous row, single crochet into it. All right, now in between, you see our V-stitch again, 7 double crochets directly into the chain 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, skip the chain 2, single crochet into the single crochet. All right, so let me show you what we have here. See our scallop here, and here's our scallop from row 2. So I'm going to encourage you to go over 1, 2, and 3 V-stitches. All right, after you do the 7 double crochet on that last, just before your corner, remember to put in your single crochet on the chain 2, chain 2, and then do your corner. Then chain 2, single crochet, and we'll start the next side. I'm going to encourage you to do this all the way around, and then I'll meet you right back here. Encourage you to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, the double crochet, and into the chain 2 space. Okay? I know you can do it. It's row 2 all over again. And then we'll move on to what we have to do next. So now that we have completed our 4th row, everything that we're going to be doing now will be the same thing that we just did for row 3 and then row 4, which basically is a repeat of row 2. I'm also going to show you how you can tell how many rows you've completed by counting the corner 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Okay, so here we've done 1, 2, 3, and 4 rows. I'm going to encourage you to continue on with the pattern, your row 3 increase and your row 2 with the 7 double crochets and the single crochet for a total of 12 rows. You'll know if you have 12 by counting the corner right here. So go ahead and do that, and once you've completed your 12 rows, come on back to the video and we will start with creating a sleeve opening and start on the body. Please pause your video. Be sure to stretch your legs. This is going to take a little bit of time. I'll see you when you get to that point. I folded mine in half and I have completed the 12 rows. So what we're going to do now is we're going to join the 2 sides together. But since we're going for an oversize sweater here, we're going to do something a little bit different. Now, if you choose, because of the size of this, to make it so that it's not too big under the arms, then you can just go ahead and join together here so that you have an armhole opening. But what I'm going to do is we've slip stitched into that chain 2. So now I'm going to chain 11. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I'm going to follow this to the other side, make sure it doesn't get twisted, and slip stitch into the chain 2 of that other corner. And snug it up, and then we're going to cut our yarn and pull it through. Alright, so we'll have this under the arm, and this is the opening right here. So we want to go directly across to the other corner right here. We're going to start off with a slip knot. And then slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Okay, and tighten everything up. Alright, then chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we're going to pick up to the other side, slip stitch there, cut with a tail, and pull it through. Okay, now you're wondering why we did this. This row is finished. Okay, so we wanted to continue on as if this was part of the finished row, because the next row is going to be just like row 3, where we have the V stitch. So we want something for the V stitch to go into, and that'll be our chain stitch right here. So with another slip knot on our hook, we're going to come over right here, 1, 2, 3, start with a standing single crochet, chain 2, here in our single crochet right here, we're going to place a V stitch, chain 2, second double crochet for that V stitch, okay, chain 2. Looks like my yarn wants to play games with me. It doesn't want to come out like it's supposed to. Okay, so we're going to skip the chain 2 and the 2 double crochets. We're going to go right straight into the chain 2 space right here and place a single crochet. Chain 2. Okay, now we're going to skip 2 and then place our V stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, and then single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, and into that third one, our V stitch, chain 2. Okay, we have 2 chains left, so we're going to single crochet right here into that chain 2 space. You see how the pattern continued on here? Okay, chain 2, skip over those 2 in the corner and the chain 2, and in the single crochet we'll do our V stitch. This row that we're doing right now is for the body. So once we get this all the way around, we'll be ready to move on to the repeat of row 4. And then basically all we're going to do is extend the length of our body. Okay, so skip over 3, single crochet into that 4th one, chain 2, and I think you know where you're at right now. We have 1, 2, so into that single crochet, do our V stitch. All right, so I encourage you to go all the way around. And when you get to this, let's see, where are we at? We're over here. When you get to the single crochet here, the V-stitch, chain 2, we're going to slip stitch into the top of that, and then we'll be ready to move on to our next row, and I'll meet you there. So I'm at the end of the row. Here's our beginning. Chain 2 after your V-stitch, slip stitch into the single crochet. All right, and here we have our chain 2. So let's go directly into a single crochet. Here's our V-stitch. So we're going to go ahead and place our 7 double crochets. Okay, and then you be following the pattern just as you've done before. 7 double crochets, single crochet in the previous single crochet, 7 double crochets. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and when we get here to the end of the row, we'll be ready to start our row 3 repeat again. I'll meet you there, so I'll show you how to start that. This section that we're working on is the body, so this should fit around your chest or your bust line, your waist, and you can make it however long you want to do this. So go ahead and do this, and then I'll show you how to do start the next row. See you then. Well, that row went by pretty quickly. So as you can see here, I finished my last top of the fan. Now I'm going to single crochet into the single crochet of the previous row, and that was the beginning. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to our next row. As you can see here, we have scallop, 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 so that means that we've finished this row. So we're going to do part of the V-stitch. So we're going to chain 3, because that's part of it, and then after you would have done the double crochet, you would chain 2. So here we're going to chain 5, and then count over 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the top of the fan, chain 2, V-stitch, okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. Now when you come back over here, you'll single crochet, chain 2, double crochet right here into the top of that single crochet, and then chain 2 and slip stitch into the top of the 3rd chain, and that'll put us right back at the beginning, where you're going to want to single crochet here into the chain. Let's see, yeah, single crochet here into the single crochet, and then do your 7 double crochets, and that'll take you in doing both rows. So this is the body part. Go ahead and do however long you're going to do. Well, that row went by pretty quickly. So as you can see here, I finished my last top of the fan. Now I'm going to single crochet into the single crochet of the previous row, and that was the beginning. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to our next row. As you can see here, we have scallop, 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 so that means that we've finished this row. So we're going to do part of the V stitch. So we're going to chain 3 because that's part of it, and then after you would have done the double crochet, you would chain 2. So here we're going to chain 5 and then count over 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the top of the fan, chain 2, V stitch, okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. So I had a chance to review what I just filmed, and what I found is that it helps to put a stitch marker in for the beginning of the row. But let's finish the row that we just did. I was telling you we started with a single crochet and chain 5. So here I am at the end with a chain 2. So let's double crochet into that single crochet, chain 2, count up 3, and slip stitch. All right, we're going to skip these 2 right here and single crochet right here on top of the single crochet, because that's the same thing that we've done in the previous rows. Then we're going to immediately go into the V stitch with our 7 double crochets, and then when we finish the row, it'll be just like what we had just done. So this is going to be for the body, so you want to make it as long as you want. So here I did my side. I have 20 rows, which means I have one of the 7 double crochets and one of the V stitch. So those 2 rows did it 10 times to come up with the length that I would like to have. I'd like to show you how to finish the end of the row. Here's my stitch marker showing the beginning of every row that I made. So after you've completed your last 7, you want to single crochet into that single crochet as if we were going to move on to the next row. Then just slip stitch into that next stitch and then finish it off. Make sure you have enough so that you can weave your tail in to your sweater here. Another thing I wanted to point out was as we jumped for each row, we did not go straight up and down. If you notice here, mine is right here at an angle. Okay, so yours is going to be at an angle as well. So this completes part 1. I'm going to show you a better picture by taking and laying it out flat, and so that you can see what it fully looks like, and has a nice little scallop bottom. So here is a picture of the completed body. So here we have our shoulders up here. This is an armhole opening, which we will put a sleeve on. This is the side, and this is the bottom. We will be adding more to the neckline, and we will be adding a sleeve as well as a hoodie in the second video. So this completes the first video. I hope to see you in the second video. So till then, bye-bye.